right. Good morning. How you doing? I'm going to attempt to kill two birds with one stone here this morning and get some finish on these parts, these pieces of, I got some Astrovan build stuff here, and I've got a piece of furniture that I made for somebody. Not a big deal. It's just a shelf I made. I did a short on it yesterday. And I want to talk about as things fall apart in the shop. Gremlins. I want to talk about the reason why a lot of content creators on YouTube don't engage in the comments section, because it can just be a huge loss of your time, especially if you're a big time content creator, where you're getting tens of thousands of views or more on a video, and then the comment sections are just massive. And then, like, for a lot of people, they're just not strong enough to handle any sort of criticism as well. And there's a lot of criticism that you get. I don't get a lot of it. But the worst part of it is when you get drawn into some sort of back and forth with some person that you don't even know, right? And they're engaging with you in a way that they only understand from their own perspective, right? This is a problem. So I wanted to give you an example or two of something like that just recently happened to me, so you guys understand. Because it can be it's a thing, man. It's a thing. And then you get aggravated, and you understand, like, you shouldn't allow yourself to get too aggravated, because, again, even though the person... I'll give you the example. So... And by the way, I'm not upset by any of this. It's just, I'm trying to get you to understand, because a lot of you, I get a lot of comments from people. Mostly it's very supportive. My comment section is mostly really positive, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I get these comments from time to time where I wonder about, I think they're designed to throw off people who read comments, but they're not designed to be genuine. Like, I get these comments all the time, and it's like these concerned questions of, I don't understand why you delete comments. I don't delete comments. I keep saying that. But when I go to the pages of those people who leave those comments, there's no content there. It's either just somebody who's on YouTube to watch videos, which is fine, or it's like a fake account set up to create disharmony in comment sections of other videos. That's what I think is really going on with that. But I did a video, I did my Sunday night video, and by the way, what I'm doing is I'm tacking off the finish. I'll put 3 coats on minimum without sanding in between, which goes against the the rules, the instructions on finish. I'll show you what I like to use here. I like to use this wipe-on polyurethane product by Minwax. And I got to drive out of state for this stuff. At any rate, I like to put 3 coats on, and then I'll do a sand with like 400 grit. And then I can put 1 top coat on and I'm done. I've explained why I do that in other videos. I'm not going to get into that here. I also save the piece of cotton I used for in the gloves. When I take them off, I just wrap it up, so the next day, or when I'm going to use it later, it's good. It's very early in the morning here, and I'm doing this so I can get this on, and in 4 hours I can come back and put another coat of finish on it. At any rate, I did this Sunday night chat video, and I was having fun with Sarah in it. We'll start there. That's the first one. I'm not bad-mouthing Sarah in any way. I just I wasn't offended by anything she said. It's just so funny that people want to go there. You got to understand my relationship with Sarah. Like, when she and I hang out, she just busts my balls the whole time. And it's funny. That's her. That's her humor, and I like it. I think it's awesome, but we bust each other's chops because of it. And that's just all I'm doing with her. If I mention her in the videos and I'm like giving her a little jazz, that's all that is. Because you can't do it with her, like, you know, when she's busting my chops, I just let her do it. I'm just like, whatever. You know? And so there was nothing wrong there. It's all good. That's all a happy thing. I'll see her Saturday. I doubt it'll even come up. But she's interesting because, you know, she's kind of too busy to be putting any time into like really going back and forth with people in comments. That's why she does the meet and greets. So she can give you guys, dedicate real time to you individually if you show up and stand online and meet her and everything else. That's what's going to happen Saturday. So there's that. But there was something else I said in this video where this one guy in particular kind of took, he just wasn't understanding where I was coming from, and he was just arguing with me, and he was giving me these like very polite but snarky comments, like backhanded. I know what a backhanded compliment is. I'm from New Jersey. We're that's an art form where I come from, and you know, he's like, well, it's easy to not want to. I can understand why you don't want to have this discussion here when you don't have any facts on your side, like stuff like that. And what it was about was I made this comment where I talked about how what the political spectrum truly is, left to right. And I stand by it. I actually found a video that's over 4 years old. I think it's 5 years old or close to it. I just tagged it on the end of that video, and I also put it in the description. And it's where I kind of explain the political spectrum from left to right, where, to oversimplify it for the sake of this, far left would be communism, total control of everything, total government control of everything. You got socialism, which is communism light, but that's far, far extreme left. The far extreme right would be anarchy. No rule of law whatsoever, like just letting people do what they want, total freedom. Now, I don't see how you argue with that. That's just the fact of the matter. But this guy, for some reason, he took it to mean, he thought I was talking about our current political system, like Republicans versus Democrats. Like he thought I was saying, which I didn't understand. I couldn't understand where the hell he was coming from. He thought I was talking about, he basically thought I was saying that there's Republicans in the Republican Party, which I guess he thinks is the far right, that want anarchy. I don't know a single one that wants that. That's not what I was saying. And this is the problem with engaging with people in a format like that, where you're not talking, like if I was talking face to face with this guy and he hit me with all the dumb shit he was hitting me with in the comments section, I could have said, dude, you're talking about it in a different abstract way that I did not intend my comments to be taken with. You know, we could have just nipped it right in the bud there, but like, you know, he's putting out all this other information, which wasn't necessarily wrong. I agreed with a lot of what he was saying, but he was using it in a way to try to make me look like I didn't know what I was talking about. I knew exactly what I was talking about. It's just he's only understanding things from his own perspective. And this is the problem. This is what most people do. It's normal. You understand things from your own perspective. So, you know, what am I supposed to do? I can't crawl into your mind and fully understand where you're coming from with this. So if you leave a comment, it takes me a while to get to it. There could be something that you say in the comments that I need to straighten out because I don't want that misconception out there, which is just how you're labeling something. It takes me a while to get back to it. It's just better not to engage at all. And so I think, in large part, that's a big part of the reason why a lot of YouTubers just don't. How you doing? I think that's why a lot of YouTubers just choose to not engage at all in the comment sections. On top of the fact that it's like I said, it's extremely time consuming. So that's all. It's just an interesting situation to find yourself in. Like you're just trying to be yourself, and you're You know, try to give maybe some information out that you think is interesting. And the funny thing is like I have certain beliefs, but none of my beliefs, I'm not super. I mean, it depends on what we're talking about, right? There's some things that I think are just truisms that you can't argue against. I can't give you an example off the top of my head right now, but they're there. But, you know, I'm not super rigid on everything because I understand that what may be true today, based on what we think, could be totally different tomorrow, based on new events. Like some new event occurs, or there's new facts that were buried, you know? Like, it's interesting to me that we had 4 years of the last administration where they couldn't seal the border. And we were told it was this, like, oh, it's an impossibility. Like, you just can't do it. We're trying our best. We're putting more people down there than ever before, you know, to stop the flow of illegal migrants coming into the country. But then, lo and behold, this new administration, in 7 weeks, they pretty much seal the border. So you would have thought, oh, it's impossible to do this, and then a new guy comes in and it's done. So I'm just saying as an example, you know, that's why it's like it's hard to have, you know, these super strong ways of thinking about some things. This has been sitting for a while. It's a little lumpy in here. It's okay. So I'm just saying, I appreciate the comments, and I know that I know that the overwhelming majority of those of you here listening to me right now that watch the channel, you get something out of it. You like me as a person. Maybe you agree with a lot of what I have to say, which is fine. Doesn't matter to me if you do or not. I'm not doing this for accolades. It's just I'm kind of, I don't know why I'm compelled to talk about the things I talk about. It's just something that's going on in my brain. I don't know what's going on. It's a thing. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm trying to figure it out, you know? But it's just truth as I see it. And you might think differently. You might think I'm wrong on a particular thing, and that's okay. And if you want to tell me I'm wrong in the comments, that's fine too. Don't have a problem with it. But you can't expect me to put a lot of time into the comments section going back and forth with you. You know, if you've got a thing where you've got like a serious issue with something I've said, then, you know, you can show up if you can and meet me at this event. Like we're going to have this Saturday at the Baghdad Cafe on Old Route 66. And that would be fun. Just, you know, be cordial. Be a nice person. Don't be an asshole. Even though you think I might be one. You know, don't be confrontational. Let's all get along, you know. Let's be civil to one another. That's the way it should be. It's an interesting thing. I mean, people are, you know, not everybody. Look, I say this all the time and I mean it. I feel like I've got the best subscribers on YouTube, but I would suspect that every content creator on YouTube feels that way about their subscribers. I think Sarah's subscribers are great. I think that a lot of the people that have issues with some of the things I say happen to be subscribers to Sarah's channel. You know, we understand where they're coming from with their mindset, and that's fine. It's okay. We're allowed to think differently, you know. We're allowed to support different points of view here. That's the beauty of America. And that's all I wanted to say about that. It's just I studied a lot of psych in college, and I've always been fascinated with why people take the positions that they do and choose to side with certain organizations or political parties or whatever. And it's interesting because here's what I do with this. So I just use this. Everything's got a code on it. It's pretty good. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to put this in the palm of this hand with this glove. I'm going to take this off here. And now I'm going to roll the air out of it. I'm going to put this one over it. And now this is good for later this afternoon. I can reuse the same rag to apply this finish. At any rate, yeah, we all come from different perspectives in life. You know, we all have different life experiences and come from different places, and it's okay to not agree on everything. It's totally fine. Just so you guys know, if you don't know me, if you don't know where I come from or what I'm kind of about, look, man, my father was an immigrant. He came to this country. He didn't speak English or anything. And he became a naturalized citizen, and he loved this country. So when you're raised by an immigrant, not a migrant, an immigrant, right? An immigrant actually comes here with the purpose of becoming an American, and they become one. And they immigrate in, you know, they assimilate into the American mindset. They become an American. Uh, you know, they're not trying to change their local governments and laws and rules and to practice some sort of religion or other idiosyncratic ways of living that go against, you know, law and order, the American way, and all that other good stuff. Like, he loved this country. And the interesting thing is, when you become a naturalized citizen, you oftentimes end up learning more and knowing more about how government works, the U.S. government works. Uh, you know, you talk to somebody who's a naturalized citizen, and they'll talk to you all about the Constitution and how and the Bill of Rights and how the government works, and they can name all three branches of government and tell you what they're supposed to be doing, and they understand how the Supreme Court works and the lower courts, and they know all this stuff because they have to know it to pass a test to become a naturalized citizen. And my dad was a told you guys this many times. He was a child soldier. He left home at 9 years old for 4 years to fight during the Greek Civil War. This is the guy that raised me, right? By the time I was 8 years old, I can live in the woods with a knife, you know, maybe some snare wire, maybe some fishing lines, some fishing hooks, and just thrive in the wilderness, man, because that's how he lived when he was young. So, you know, that does something to your brain, and it makes you self-sufficient and not have to depend on other people and not afraid of things. When he was doing things with me when I was a kid, 3 years old, literally held a 30-06 to my shoulder and let me reach up and squeeze the trigger, like teaching me how to kill things and skin them and eat them and everything. It was wild, and it was awesome because as a very young human being, I was already very independent, and my brain was working, and I didn't have fear. It was an amazing way to be raised by a man, like a real, to me, what I think of as a friggin' man. And that's how I see it. That's how I look at my dad, and it was amazing. Not everybody has that, and we're getting softer here, and that's an issue, and it's fine. It's just the way the world that we live in right now. I mean, when you gotta like read history and you look at what people used to live through and how they lived and how hard it was to live, and it's all that's in your DNA, by the way. You know, there's not a person alive today who, if they were able to somehow watch a film of their own DNA, like where it came from, and go back hundreds of years or thousands of years, there's people in your bloodline that did vicious, horrible things to some other person at some point along the way and really had a struggle and understood skills, like basic life skills that you needed before there was anything. You know, you understand where I'm getting at? And we're just in this place today where we're still the animals that we were thousands of years ago, but now we're living in a society, in a world where, you know, we have vehicles and electricity and all this other stuff, and you have all this time on your hands, and there's a war for the control of your mind, and based on where you're raised and how you were raised and what you were exposed to and what you're exposed to now, what you're exposing yourself to now, what you're choosing to pay attention to, it's forming your perspective on the world. And that perspective may or may not be correct. And from time to time, you're going to run into somebody else who has a different perspective on things. And then there's this psychological thing that I find, I see it in the comments, I see it when I meet people. If somebody likes you, they like a lot of, I always get this, I like a lot of what you say, but I don't agree with you on everything. No kidding. There's nobody on the planet I agree with on everything. Thanks for telling me something that we all know already. But there's that. And then there's the ones like, they like you, and the problem is they have this disconnect. Like, because they like you and they like some of the things you said or some of the things that you do, the activities and whatnot, or they really like other people that you get along with, but there's things that I say or think or put out there that they hate. They just hate it. And they got to let you know about it. And the funny thing is like because they like you, they want you to think exactly the same way that they think on any given issue. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You know? So get over it, man. You could still like me if you don't like me, or you don't like some of the things I stand for, some of the things I say, which are all subject to change, as I keep saying. It's like, we'll just take Sarah, for example. Sarah and I talk about all kinds of things. She's awesome. And I have a lot of fun with her. But when we get into the weeds on certain things, she's 180 degrees opposite of how I think about things. And that doesn't mean I have to not like her anymore. We get along fine. So that's the thing. I just bring her up because a lot of you people watch her channel. I love Sarah. She's awesome. Well, like I said, we'll have a good time Saturday night, I think. I'm just saying, I have a lot of people like that in my life. We know we don't. I have a neighbor. I love the guy. He was in the Navy. I got like 8 years on him. He goes to China all the time. He works for a skateboard company. And he's like, I know you voted for the guy, but I want to kill him. I just want to shoot him in the street. That's what he said about Trump yesterday. I was talking to him. And it's so funny because we started talking about the tariff issue, and that's his thing, because he sees it as he's seeing families right now that aren't able to make money, and some of his shipments got stopped in other parts of this country, trees and things like this, because of what's going on with the uncertainty. And as soon as I started explaining things to him, it made him understand like how we were getting ripped off. Like, if we go from losing $2 billion a day, right, under the last administration, to now pulling in $3 billion a day, that's a positive, right? And the whole thing with Doge, it's like, how can you be upset with that? Like, they're cutting the waste, the fraud, the graft. It's amazing. I watched a video this morning with Nate Freeman where he shows you where the money goes. He's in Boston, and he goes to these migrant shelters, and he talks to the people running them, and he found this huge scam. Millions of dollars going to this company, and it's all the politicians in this area in Boston and Massachusetts, all Democrats, and so they're all in cahoots, and they got their family members on the boards and the city councils, and they're okaying all these payments, and there's no bid offers that they're getting with this company and other companies where they're getting all this money from the government. It's all tax dollars. It's all our tax dollars. So I love that Doge is out there. And I love that they're cutting federal workers too. And that sounds harsh to some people, but we're bloated, man. Like, we don't need these jobs. They're unneeded. And we have to streamline things. That's just the way it has to be. So, yes, there's going to be a rough patch until things settle, but this needed to happen, right? The country was hemorrhaging money, getting deeper and deeper into debt. And we had an inflation under the last administration that the media didn't really want to tell you about, but you would see it. You'd see it every time you went grocery shopping, every time you put gas in the car. You know that numbers are up. It's ridiculous. So that shit has to come down. The negotiations that are going on right now with tariffs and everything else are intended to get us to a net equal zero when it comes to trade. That's what we want. Free trade across the board without tariffs. These other countries have been stealing from us, basically. And the dumb people running the country beforehand were allowing it to happen. That's got to stop. And we got to start manufacturing things in this country again like we used to. So there was a whole crazy thing that happened here over my whole lifetime where I watched it happen. And it was always these stories about these industries leaving the country because of overregulation and junk science and fake crap that was going on out there, some of which is real, some of which we've settled already, like we can do things cleaner now and all that. A lot of it's based on nonsense. Remember now, I talk about this all the time. 25 years ago, we were told we had 10 years left. You know what I'm saying? Like, there'd be no polar ice caps. We'd all be drowning right now. And it didn't happen. Just as one example. There's tons of examples like that. We're lied to all the time. And every lie that they tell us takes more money out of our pockets with regulations and everything else, and it stops certain industries. And what happens is those industries go overseas. How do they make money? Well, the people that let that happen, boom, goes overseas. Now, those companies are paying these people kickbacks. You understand what I'm saying? All this money gets circulated around. Greece and the people that allowed this to happen, which actually weakened our country, makes other countries stronger while it weakens us at the same time. This is a problem. It has to stop. Had to stop. Now it's being stopped. It's being changed. There's a correction taking place. That's just how it is. And it's going to be a little bit rough for a little while. That's just how it is. Good thing, bad thing? I think overall it's going to end up being a good thing, but it's going to be bad for some people in the short term. The people screaming the loudest about all these changes right now are the people that have been taking advantage of it. We're shutting off the spigot of funds that have been going into their pockets. That's why they're screaming so much. Just saying. Now, because I said that, somebody will be here in the comments and will be understand things from this perspective where they're going to want to argue with me, but that's because all their information is coming from this other side and they're not doing the deep dive. I highly recommend watching this Nate Freeman guy. He's an independent journalist, young guy. He goes to all these different locations and gets into it. And I'm amazed by it because we used to have journalism here. I don't know if it ever was real independent, fact-finding journalism. Honestly, now that I look back on everything, I don't know. But we know that legacy media, mainstream media, is controlled by certain people, individuals who are they're part of this whole global world order thing that they want. And that's why all the messaging is the same. And these are the people that have been screwing up all these economies so that they can get rich and they screw us over. That's why it's all messaging with them. It's all propaganda. That's why you hear the exact same sound bites, the exact same phraseology on all these different channels, radio and everything, public broadcasting. It's all the same message because they're literally, a lot of these people are in bed with these politicians, in bed with these industries, sleeping with them, married to them, related to them. That's what's going on. So you got people like Nate Freeman and others that are on YouTube and other social media platforms where they're going out there and they're the man in the street. And then they're doing the work. And then they're getting the records. And then they're showing it to you. Here's where the money's going. Like that, we're not seeing that on the normal. That's why legacy media is dying right now. And the biggest problem I have in the comments sometimes with people, or when I'm just talking to somebody, is they're still getting their information from the same sources that have been lying to them about everything. They're still getting information from those sources as if they trust it, even though it's been proven that they've lied to us over and over and over again. So yeah, so some person you've never heard of before, like this Nate Freeman guy, you're going to think, well, who is he? I never heard of him before. Well, why don't you start watching? So, and then look into it. But he's showing you everything. Right? So it's like, and he's going directly to the people. And then he shows you pictures of the people at the council meetings. He shows you pictures of them, the head of these departments, or the head of these boards, or the head of these organizations. Then he shows pictures of them at these protests, right? It's like, well, wait a second. Isn't there a little conflict of interest here? They're showing the whole thing. It's a total expose on it. And it's mind-boggling and mind-blowing. It's these independent journalists, in my opinion, they deserve Emmys. Not only that, many of the news organizations that were awarded Emmys, I guess you would put it that way, for outstanding journalism and lied, shouldn't they be given those things back? I'm just saying. Turn on the thinking cap. Be nice to one another, as nice as you can. Choose to be a good human being, if that's possible for you. Let's all get along. All getting along doesn't mean we have to agree on everything. It just means that we can agree to disagree on things. It's okay. It's okay. And you don't have to, nobody wants to be around somebody that is trying to force everybody else to accept the way that they think. I'm not trying to get you to think the way I think. I'm just sharing with you what I think. And I'm letting the chips fall where they may. And I could be wrong about a lot of stuff. And I have no problems with that. Because I'm no expert. You shouldn't be coming here thinking I'm like an expert on everything. It's just what I think. I'm just applying logic, right? My logic, as we touched on earlier, is based on my perspective on things, based upon what I research and study all the time, and my upbringing, and how I live my life, and how I've been living my life, and my interactions with people. And the thing is I've had interactions for thousands of people. I've been all over the place, doing all sorts of different things. Even just the nature of my job puts me into the homes of perfect strangers from all different walks of life, and we talk about these things. So I'm constantly having my positions challenged by perfect strangers, and people who are highly educated and successful and make a lot of money, because I ain't cheap. So I'm able to defend myself all the time, and I do that. I don't shy away from it. That's why most of what I say seems to ring true with a lot of people. It's just basically common sense and curiosity, and then a little gumption, and I'm not lazy, so I go and I look into the things that I'm personally interested in. That's all it is. Most people aren't doing that. Most people are raising a family, working hard. You got kids in the house. You got people around you. You got a wife, all the time. It's not even about you guys. She's telling you about her girlfriends and their personal lives. It's not even your friggin' business. Not her business either. Like, when are you supposed to be able to break free from your whole life so you can devote so many hours a day into researching 10 different subjects like I do? Most of you can't do that. You don't have that kind of time. So I'm just saying, not saying I'm an expert or anything. It's just I look into things. I've lived a life. I talk to people all the time. I'm not just living in some little bubble of just the same people all the time, watching the same stuff, thinking the same way, repeating the same things to one another, and trying to make us all think that we're right about everything. Because a lot of you are in those bubbles. You got to break free. You got to talk to and engage with the people, all kinds of different people. And when you live in a big city, it's easy to do that. So anyhow, that's all. What it's like to, I hate even saying I'm a content creator, but when I got over 10,000 subscribers, I had to just admit that that's a fact. That's just a fact. I don't like it, to be honest with you, but that's what it is. So it's not a frustration necessarily. It's just letting you understand like what goes on and the reason why so many other people that do social media, YouTube, whatever it is, you're going to end up pulling away a little bit from your followers at some point, especially when it just gets too big to deal with. And so those comment sections, who knows where they're going to go, you know? As I said, I don't delete comments, but I do hide. There's this thing you could hit. It's called hide user from channel. I think what that does is it basically, they don't know that they're hidden from the channel. I think they can still watch the videos, but if they're commenting, they don't show up in the comments anymore, and they can't, I don't think they can interact with anybody else in the comments, but I believe they can still see the content. I don't know. If you're watching this and you've been putting comments down there and you don't think that they're popping up and you're not getting any reaction from me, you may have been hidden from the channel. But if you were, it was just because you were kind of being a jerk. You know, just, it was ridiculous. It's like just too much of it. And I can't waste my time with that nonsense. Go somewhere else, dude. There are people out there in the world that are like that. They just want to be argumentative all the time. I suspect that they're on the internet arguing with people in the comments because there's nobody in their life anymore that will deal with them. They've probably forced everybody else in their life away from them. So the only interaction they have is via social media and comment sections. I feel sorry for you if that's your life. You're not right about everything. I'm not right about everything. I could care less about trying to convince everybody to think exactly the same way I do. That's just silly. Get a hobby. Lighten up a little bit. There are a lot of things in this world that we need to be taken seriously, but if you were doing that, you just become an activist for a particular cause. If that's what you want to devote your life to, that's fine, but just accept the fact that the rest of us don't give a shit. Like, we can see the value in maybe what you're about and what you're saying, but to devote every waking moment of your day to a particular cause or a particular side, you're just driving people out of your life. And you need to understand that. Your personal life, your personal relationships, what you do for a living, how you survive, the good that you could do for others, that's the biggest thing. That's the whole reason I'm here. It's the whole reason I'm taking the time to even do this video, or all my videos, is just to get you to understand our minds, and that we're all individuals, and none of us want to be corralled the way that we have been. We're being corralled all the time into these different groups and different tribes and different belief systems. And a lot of what the people believe in all these different groups or tribes, a lot of it is bullshit. So step back and try to see that. As you get older, you realize these things because you start thinking more logically and less emotionally. Your emotions are totally unreliable. Philosophy 101, you go to college. The first thing you learn is emotions are unreliable. You cannot base important decisions on how you feel about something. I'll leave you with that. Have a great day. Be good. I'll catch you in the next one. You guys will see these things going in the van. Not all of it's going in the van. You guys will see all that. Bye.